call the roll, please.
Commissioner
Clerk, please
Waldridge.
call the roll.
Yes. Here, sorry.
Commissioner Tippett.
Here.
Commissioner Whisman.
Here.
Commissioner Sower.
Here.
Mayor May.
Bobby.
We do have a quorum present.
Bobby.
So we'll dispense with the normal opening saying things here. The consent items, call on the city manager to read the consent items, please.
Are we doing the pledge or we didn't do that?
We had one public comment emailed in, and I'm going to pull that up real quick, if that's okay, Mayor.
I'm sorry, you said we do have a public comment?
We do
Yes.
have one.
Okay, well, let's go to public comments.
All right, one we're not going to read that because it wasn't tied to any agenda item, but we'll work it out later. The second one is a comment from related to item 13 or 14 on the agenda. We're going to talk about our COVID-19 response. The St. Vincent de Paul of Frankfort charitable nonprofit is operating a food pantry and distributes food to about 300 families each month. They are in need of donations, canned and box foods, but you might reach out to them directly. They have a drop-off at 315 Wallace Avenue. They also provide assistance to pay rent, utilities, transportation, and medical expenses when funds are available. So they're in desperate need of additional funds for the poor and needy during this unprecedented time. And canned food to be dropped off again at 315 Wallace Avenue, Brown Back, in a black trailer. And money donations can be mailed to Society of St. Vincent de Paul, P.O. Box 571, Frankfort, Kentucky, 40602-0571. That's the public comment.
He's live.
He's live.
He's live.
All right. Can we go on to the consent?
Lost the audio. City manager, what did you just say?
Do you want me to go on to the consent calendar?
Yes, please. And can everybody see Commissioner Tippett and myself? Please?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, got it.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Item 1 on the consent calendar is approval of the minutes from the February 3rd special meeting, February 10th joint meeting, February 10th work session, and the February 24th regular meeting. Item 2 is approval of the 2020 recycling grant application. The grant asks for $86,500 in equipment, advertising, and education expenses, and our 25% match will come from recycling personnel costs. Item 3 is approval to waive the 2019 payment in lieu of taxes for the Housing Authority of Frankfort, as we have for the past several years. Item 4 is approval of the 3-year Recollect app contract at a cost of $7,775 yearly. Item 5 is approval of the contract modification with H&A Resources for biosolids disposal to help offset a projected increase in landfill fees. Item 6 is approval of a change order 1 in the amount of $91,104 to Fashion Construction for additional work related to the East Main Interceptor project. Item 7 is approval of a professional services agreement with Bell Engineering for design and bidding assistance for the improvement of the headworks of the sewer plant. These improvements were identified as a priority in the recently completed plant asset management plan. Item 8 is approval of a sewer extension agreement to provide sewer service to several properties on Old Lawrenceburg Road. The developer will pay for all costs associated with this extension. Item 9 is approval of amendment number 4 with AECom in the amount of $131,048 to bring both the Poplar Creek and Home Depot pump station designs to final design. Item 10 is personnel actions. Termination of Stephen Morton Sewer, effective February 26, 2020, plant operator 1. Resignation of Chris O'Brien Sewer, effective March 4th, 2020, sewer tech 1. That's all of the consent calendar.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Sower, second by Commissioner Waldridge. All members will be considered to have voted in the affirmative on the consent items unless they file vote modification forms, which I don't believe we have any.
No, sir, we don't.
All right, so next item would be first readings and second readings. First item is first reading of item number 1, and ask the solicitor to read it by title and summary only, please.
An ordinance amending Chapter 74, Schedule 1, one-way streets of the City of Frankfort Code of Ordinances. This ordinance amends Chapter 74, Section 1 of the City of Frankfort Code of Ordinances and provides that West Main Street between Ian Street to Wilkinson Boulevard, going west between Ian Street and Wilkinson Boulevard, will no longer be a one-way street upon completion of all construction converting West Main to two-way.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Not, ask that the
Did we
next
have-
item number 2 be
do we
read
have a
by
date for
title
that?
and summary only,
Do we,
please.
do we have a date for that?
I'm sorry.
Do we have any, we don't have a date for, that may be the
Start.
completion time? Or a start to completion time, it's just,
I can get this for you.
okay.
I'm sorry, Mayor, did you tell me to go on to the next one?
Yes, please.
Okay. An ordinance rezoning property located near the intersection of East Main Street and Aspen Avenue with the address of 702 and 706 East Main Street, more specifically described as PBA map numbers 0744108, 011.00, 744108, 010.00, and 744108, 009.00 from professional office district to general commercial district. This ordinance approves a zone map amendment for the property located at the intersection of East Main Street and Aspen Avenue with the addresses of 702 and 706 East Main Street, more specifically described as PBA map numbers 74-41-08-011, 74-41-08-010, and 74-41-08-009 from professional office district to general commercial district.
Thank you. And are there any questions on this item?
Nope.
All right, if not, we'll go to item number 3, and would ask to be read by title and summary only.
An ordinance to amend the City of Frankfort's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 152, by amending the zoning regulations, Article 19, subsection 19.07, home occupations. This ordinance amends the city's zoning ordinance, Article 19.07, to amend the city's regulations on home occupations.
Do we need to go back, do you need to say the City of Frankfort zoning regulations, or is that sufficient?
I think it's sufficient.
Okay, just want to double check, sorry.
Sorry.
Thank you. Any questions on this?
Yeah, Mayor, I've got some
Go
technical
ahead.
concerns, but I will bring that up for the next meeting, that I may ask that we have another first reading. My concerns are after this virus pandemic is over, we need to do everything possible to encourage business development in our city, and there are just a few technical wording items in the ordinance as it exists that I haven't quite got answered that I'd like to review. So, but just more of a comment. We can look at it next time.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right, I would ask that the next item be read by title and summary only, please.
An ordinance to amend the City of Frankfort's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 152, by amending the City of Frankfort zoning regulations, Article 3 and Articles 4.114, 4.124, 4.134, and 4.144 to include street side setbacks. This ordinance amends the city's zoning ordinance, Article 3 and Articles 4.114, 4.124, 4.134, and 4.144 to amend the city's zoning ordinance to include street side setbacks.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this? All right. Next would be the second reading of item number 5. Ask clerk to read, ask the solicitor to read it by title and summary only, please.
An ordinance repealing and replacing the City of Frankfort Code of Ordinances, Section 71.50, 71.51, 71.52, 71.53, 71.56, 71.57, 71.58, 71.59, 71.60, 71.61, and 71.62 related to parades and special events. This ordinance amends section 71.50 to 71.62 to replace special event parade and special event parade permit with special event and special event permit throughout. Section 71.50 is amended to add sub-definitions of special events. Section 71.52 is amended to change the filing deadline from 45 days to 30 days, to add a $500 late filing fee, excluding first-time events, to allow applications to be filed beginning January 1st for the calendar year, to remove the Special Events Committee and replace with community partners and regulatory entities, and to change permit fees to $100 for all special event permits and $50 for barricaded side street closures. Section 71.53 is amended to designate one Capitol Avenue parade route and one downtown race route with 3K and 5K options. Section 71.56 is amended to designate the Office of Emergency Management as the contact for security plans and to add ranks of police officers who may provide event security. Section 71.57 and 71.58 are amended to allow social media as an acceptable means of public notification of the event. Section 71.59 is amended to require a refundable damage deposit of $250 for all special events and to clarify that one deposit may be retained for multiple events. Section 71.61 is amended to require the city manager or designee to respond to a permit within 30 days.
Thank you. We need a motion on this and a second, please.
Move to approve.
Second.
I couldn't tell who made the motion first. Was it?
Sower.
Sower.
Okay, so I thought Commissioner Sower and second by Commissioner Waldridge. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor, I just want to say, I think this is a good step in the right direction, but I still have a number of concerns, and at our next work session, I'd actually like to bring up a committee to further review. We need to encourage events, and I'm afraid that this still, as it has in the past, discourages people from planning things in our community that really are economic development drivers. So, but I'll bring that up again in the next work session.
All right, any other discussion?
Connect.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Waldridge?
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett?
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sower?
Yes.
Mayor May?
Yes, item is adopted. Next item would be surplus of vehicles and an order from the police department to request the surplus of 3 Ford Crown Victoria police vehicles. And let's see, they've reached their limits, and there's a 2007 that was transferred to the police department from the sewer department. And let's see, that vehicle has had our need for repairs of approximately $2,500. The second one needs probably $1,500, which will run over $1,500. So these are old vehicles that just need to be surplus. If there's any questions, we'll answer those. If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Mayor.
Second.
Second.
Moved by Tippett, and I cannot for the life of me figure out who did that second.
one.
Whisman's fine. Whisman's fine.
Whisman? Okay, thank you. All right, any discussion?
Yes, Mayor, I was just curious if we have done business and how much business have we done with L&W equipment before? Have we used them frequently?
I believe we had a very similar surplus of vehicles last February or March. We did the same thing. They're really old vehicles, and this company will take all the equipment out that we need, and it's a way to save 2 steps into one. But I think we used the same company last year at the same time.
And where are they located?
Now, I'm not 100% sure where they are.
Lawrenceburg.
Lawrenceburg? Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? If not, clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Waldridge?
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett?
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sower?
Yes.
Mayor May?
Yes, the order is approved. Next would be an order to surplus 4 transit buses. If there's any questions, we will be happy to answer those. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve, Mayor.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Tippett, second by Commissioner Waldridge. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mayor, I've just still not got an answer, still not got an affirmative answer about donating these vehicles. Specifically, the Senior Citizen Center might be able to use one, so I just would ask again that we clarify on that before we get rid of these. If we need to do something different in the order, I want to
Isn't
make
that
sure that
what's
we have the
written?
opportunity. I know Senior Citizen Center specifically, the Activity Center
Yeah.
could use one of these to lighten our load, so.
We,
It's written, isn't that how
we
it's written?
amended the order from your comments last time related to that, to leave that as an option.
I
We
thought
have
so.
forwarded all requests for donated vehicles to the Transportation Cabinet.
Yes.
All the requests made to us for a vehicle have been forwarded to the Transportation Cabinet. And they will be in contact with the requesting entities and making decisions on donations. And that's pretty much related to, will it help offset passenger loads that we have in the transit.
Right.
All
Yeah,
that's ongoing.
I think to
Yes.
offset those loads is an important aspect of this. And I'd like us at the same time to give us some figure of how much these buses are worth. We've done enough of these, I would think, Mr. City Manager, to have some rational idea when we've sold them at auction or at other places that might give us some indication of how much they are worth.
But I could get maybe Mike Chapman at the garage to research values of these. Do you want to know that value before we make a decision on a donation?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Any other questions?
Might be a small
No,
number.
that's
That's
the reason
it.
why I second it, was because of the verbiage on how it changed. It still was an option for us. In the verbiage, it clearly states that there is an option if we are going to donate that or not. And so that's why I second it, because the verbiage was changed from our discussion from our last meeting.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments? All right. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Waldridge?
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett?
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sower?
Yes,
Mayor May?
Yes, that order is adopted. Next would be a reciprocal easement between the City of Frankfort and WTZ Properties LLC. This is to share a common access road between the city fire station located at this address on Home Street and WTZ Properties located at 133 and 133 and a half Home Street. If there's any questions, we have staff available to answer those. If not, we would entertain a motion.
I could have one small question, Mayor.
Commissioner Tippett.
Is there a business located on that property, Mr. City Manager?
I think, I'm not 100% sure. All I know is WTZ, the fire station has a need to get down the alley between those, and the property line runs the middle of the alley. So this reciprocal easement will help them access their property as much as it will help our trucks access the rear of the fire station.
The attachment said that it was our property, that you're telling me something different. The property line runs down the middle of the street.
We are reciprocating an easement. The property line runs down the center. We
Okay.
are reciprocating our side of that property line, and they're reciprocating with an easement on their side of the property line. So
That changes things then.
Okay. Move to approve, Mayor.
Did someone have?
Second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Tippett, second by Commissioner Waldridge. Is there any discussion?
My question was going to be that the attachment said that the property was ours. I was asking why we were giving away an easement on our own property if it's already for a public use. But okay, since you've said that, I'll go forward with it.
All right.
That's how I understood it.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Waldridge?
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett?
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sower?
yes,
Mayor May?
Yes, that is adopted, approved, right? All right, next would be amendment number 1 on the East Main Street curb box inlet replacement project. Staff is available to answer questions if there are any. If there's not, we would entertain a motion.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Sower, second by Commissioner Whisman. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk please call roll.
Mr. Waldridge?
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett?
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman?
Yes.
Mr. Sauer?
Yes.
Mayor May?
Yes, that amendment is approved. Next, amendment number 2, and resolution for Strand Associates for the Tiger Grant project. If there's any questions, we have staff that will answer those. If not, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Waldridge.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Whisman. Any questions? Seeing none, clerk please call the roll.
Mr. Waldridge?
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett?
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sauer?
Yes.
Mayor May?
Yes, that amendment is adopted, and resolution is adopted. Next, we have a resolution for the Farmdale Sewer Project. We do have staff available to explain or answer questions if needed. If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
Just one question, Mayor, or really more of a comment. This resolution is sufficient, I understand, to do what we need. But before we move forward with this project, we did ask staff to come forward with a current comment by the state, since management has shifted in the administration change. I'm still anxious to see that before we get too far down this road, preferably before this resolution, but we can still do that after the fact. That's all.
Okay.
So moved.
Anybody else? Okay. Moved by Commissioner Waldridge.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Sauer. Any other questions? Seeing none, clerk please call the roll.
Commissioner Waldridge?
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett?
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sauer?
Yes.
Mayor May?
Yes, this resolution is adopted. Next would be requesting approval of a purchase order for the replacement of the 30-inch gravity main from manhole 791 to manhole 71618. And this would be an emergency repair. If there's questions on this, staff is available to answer. If not, we'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
By
Second.
Commissioner Waldridge.
I think.
Second.
I can hear.
Second.
Commissioner Sauer.
Yes.
Okay, great.
I think, Eric, do you have a question? Sorry, he can't hear you. I can hear you,
Who's
so.
that?
Hold on, Eric may have something. I just heard him.
Go ahead, whoever. You have
No,
a
I'm okay. I'm all
Okay.
right.
question? Oh,
I know what I needed to ask.
All right.
But
Then ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Mr. Waldridge?
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett?
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman?
yes.
Commissioner Sauer?
Yes.
Mayor May?
Yes, that order is adopted. Next would be a municipal order providing for leave under the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. We have staff available to answer questions if there are any, and if not, we'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve, Mayor.
Where are we with this?
Move by Tippett.
13, item 13.
No, I was asking about number 13
Okay.
itself,
Is there a
just the
second?
verbiage.
Is there a second?
This is
Second,
Yeah.
for discussion.
Commissioner Sauer, did you
Sec-
second?
Yes.
Oh, it did not move.
Okay, so second. All right, Commissioner
Oh,
Wallace, do you
it
have
said it
questions?
moved it. Sorry.
Do you have
Did
questions?
you have questions?
No, I just wanted to know, like, is this
Oh,
what we're going with? This is what we've sort of come up with?
Can you give us
Is this
a
suitable?
a
Like,
synopsis for
yeah.
the audience especially?
sure.
I can at least start the
Okay.
explanation if that's
Denny
okay.
Smith, I'll call it whoever, I can't see you all, but
Okay.
whoever needs to answer that question. please
Okay.
do.
Thanks.
I'll get started. Basically, this was in response to the mandate of the federal or Families First Coronavirus Response Act. They set into place a couple of provisions, extensions of leave protections and a certain amount of leave protection for coronavirus-related illnesses and other needs to be absent from work. All cities are required to adopt this by April 2nd, which is why there is the rush to put it before you all tonight.
Right.
So it basically mirrors the example from KLC that they recommend, which basically mirrors the federal act itself. Now, you'll notice at the end of this order, I did add a paragraph that a provision that would allow us, as long as we're not directly conflicting with the act, if we want to be more generous or if we need to make other changes, we certainly can do so as time goes by if we see we need some flexibility, as long as we're not conflicting with that.
Okay.
Jim, please.
And any changes would come before the Board of Commissioners to ratify.
That is not, during an emergency, basically, most of our actions can and probably will be coming from the mayor through the emergency management protocol. So it might be very difficult to get some of this back before you all to ratify, although we would certainly make every effort to get your input as best we could within the constraints of the open meetings laws. We're in kind of uncharted territory right now, but we're going to move forward as best we can and make sure you all are involved to the extent we can.
And I mean, I clearly understand that we are in a first time ever situation. I understand the emergency aspect of it, but I just guess, and I won't speak for all commissioners, but my opinion is that we need to just make sure that we are communicated with so we know if there's questions out there and that we're not finding out 45 minutes after a meeting or 45 minutes after something was done. Yes, things can be approved or whatever as far as the management's concerned, but in some instances I really think that we need some knowledge on that where we can have some say in that, because we just don't want certain things to happen and then we have to backpedal on them, and then we, the commission, are trying to backpedal on some things that are huge or could affect our budget or could affect our employees, and we want to make sure that we do that right. So I just want communication, and I know we're trying to improve communication because some of us have been a little bothered with that, but I just want to make sure we're communicated with.
And we have a particular item, the very next item, we can go over all of our response actions, policies, procedures, the next agenda item. This specific one is just for municipal order that was required by April 2nd.
Right.
And it's kind of the bare minimum of what we have to do. And again, the policies we have in place right now are more generous than that.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm fine. I just wanted to overlay for the community and for us just to making sure.
I have the same feelings that the Mayor Pro Tem mentioned with Skyping and so forth. I don't see why we couldn't meet on an emergency basis with something brand new like this. We've never seen this before, and we've got to respond quickly. I get that, and I'm for that, but we ought to be consulted.
Commissioner
Completely
Tippett.
agree.
I was just gonna say, much of what my colleagues have said, it appears to me that, this is an unfolding outbreak, and, we haven't really felt the brunt of this yet, and I feel like we are going to. So we need the widest latitude in all of our policies, and all our procedures. And we need to be nimble, but I feel like, this may, and we may keep that, reacting, or we try to be proactive as much as we can. But like my colleague said, this is just something that we've not seen in our lifetime. So I want to commend staff, I want to commend emergency management for the quick response. And Mary, you've done a good job leading us through this. So I would just say that we need to be, we need to have great latitude and be nimble in all regards.
Can I say something, Mayor?
Absolutely. I'm sorry.
I would like to say that Friday, we sent, it was a late 5 o'clock email, we sent out the municipal order and the policy that the mayor and I had worked on with other department heads on how we would handle leave time. But we did have 2 attachments that went out Friday afternoon. The one that you're voting on now, the municipal order was in that email Friday afternoon as well
Correct.
as some department policy.
Yeah, I think,
Good question, Mayor.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
We are just adopting, we're coming into compliance with directives from, or guidance from KLC that has been phoned to us from the federal government. Is this correct, Ms. Ross?
That's correct.
yeah.
This is actually a pretty routine document that you'll have before you write this minute.
Mayor,
Commissioner Whisman, go ahead.
Laura, correct me, this is a description, the municipal order that was attached to the same email on Friday, is this an explanation of the order? Are these documents
This
dual
is-
here, or there's,
This is
it's a bit confusing the way it was sent out.
An order in response to the act, to the federal act, is that
Okay.
what you're asking?
Well, there was a municipal order attached to Keith's email on Friday with this and the,
Yes.
okay. I do have a request then, since they are interlinked.
They're not interlinked. I would
They
say
aren't.
that's the next agenda item. The municipal order.
That was my question.
Yeah, the municipal order clearly puts us in line with federal law, the federal
Right.
act. And then item 14, the next agenda item, I expect you all have questions about the
Well,
policy.
I'll move to approve this then. This is just legalese required federally of us, and we can discuss the issues next. Move to approve, Mayor.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Whisman.
Second.
Actually, we already did. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. We already had.
Yeah.
But
I was
in,
gonna say.
Mayor, in discussion, is there an opportunity or a possibility of getting any kind of financial impact on this particular order?
We can study that, and that order, yeah, we can study and see, really the financial impact, when we talk about the next agenda item, we can talk to Ms. Fields about that.
Okay.
Well, Laura, can you give us just the, while we're still in discussion, the basics? This allows all of our staff to work from home, work remotely, except in the instance when they are required to come in, they get a 10% pay premium.
That is,
That's-
actually, no. This municipal order is solely the order that's done in response to the federal act. The federal act itself, the two applicable provisions to the city of Frankfort and to all cities are going to be the Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act, which requires sick leave to be given in certain situations related to COVID-19. And then there's also an extension of FMLA, which the city already has FMLA, but this is an emergency provision that would allow more time, protected time, and to some extent paid time for employees who are unable to work or telework due to the need to care for a child under 18.
Okay, so we are on that then. That's what the agenda item I thought it was. I was referencing the page that the clerk gave us, not the order.
Okay, so the only thing we're voting on right now is the order.
Okay, then my questions
Which is,
are,
that's what I brought up.
are valid here then. So the order states that we will give 2 weeks paid leave. I would actually like to make that 3. I'd like to see us be more flexible. It's the one thing we can do to help our staff if they are in gestation period for a couple of weeks and aren't feeling great. It's better that they stay away, and then if they do come down with this virus, I'd like to make sure they have plenty of time to recover before having to return to work. So we have eligible for 2 weeks paid leave, and then we have a 12-week job protective order essentially there, correct? I would like to change the 2 weeks to 3 weeks. So I'll make a motion to change the 2-week leave to 3-week for the municipal order for First Families Coronavirus Response Act.
So is that start to finish
So
for,
amendment.
sorry, when, so when a employee, because I was looking at that, because I thought, given the time,
Let me get, but we need to get either gets a second or before we continue to discuss it. Is there a second on this? Is there a motion
I'd like to
amend?
continue, not that I'm
You
against
can
it, but I
second it,
would
and then we
like
can
to.
discuss, and we can vote it up or down.
The federal recommendation is
Is there a second?
Oh, you're asking for a second on the amendment, Mayor?
I'm only asking if somebody wants to send it, it would be seconded. This would be an amendment to the original order.
And I'm sorry, I'm not sure I'm following. So Commissioner Whisman wants to make an amendment to the original motion, adding a week on to the 2 week.
That's correct.
I'll second the motion. I'll second the amendment.
Second, okay. So we have a second. Now, discussion, who wants to discuss?
I just was getting clarity that if we move it from 2 to 3, is that from the moment that that individual is, from the first day that they're diagnosed or they're sick, and that they're dismissed from work, and then this will be continuous all the way through 2 weeks, plus another week to make sure that they are fully rehabilitated from this if they were to get a virus and that they've been released? I mean, I just know from me, like with one of my employees from another company, he just got back from Dominican Republic, and he is not allowed to be anywhere near anyone for 2 weeks. He is actually on isolation at home, no matter if we say come in or not. He has to stay home for 2 weeks. So we can up it till 3, and that's, I wasn't against it. I just want to make sure, like, is 3 enough? What are we doing just to make sure that we don't get past that 3-week period and someone's still sick? Because I completely agree.
If I may,
That was all I was saying.
Commissioner Waldridge, there are six qualifiers that state that you're experiencing symptoms, that you've been quarantined, that you have to stay home with your child. I thought 3 weeks would get us through to our next meeting for sure, that if things
We need to
progress,
take it,
that
like,
we can
individually.
look at it again, but that would give us plenty of time to,
Right.
if we have something that pops up in the next couple of days with any employees, that we have time to consider whatever else we may need to do. That was my only
Okay.
concern, that
Yeah.
2 weeks may not be
I
sufficient
agree.
time, and better to be safe than sorry.
No,
in
I
this
completely
instance.
agree. I just wanted to make sure we were both on the same page as that, to understand, so.
It looks like the act,
But,
I'm sorry, Mayor. Yes.
that's okay, go ahead.
The act is essentially adding, if you have 300 hours of sick leave in your bank, the act is giving you 80. It's a guarantee that they're adding 80 hours to your sick leave, so you don't eat into it. The FMLA 12-week period protects your job, even if you're off without pay.
Okay.
It lets you be off for up to 12 weeks. But in most cases, once somebody's added these 80, they'll have sick time their own sick time that they can use towards this. And we have a very good sick leave donation program here at the city. If somebody had the 80 and they needed another week off, usually we get that through sick leave donations. If you want to guarantee up to 3 weeks sick time, that's your own prerogative.
I think that, Mayor,
Go ahead.
I think this is the recommendation from federal as well as Kentucky Municipal League, and 2 weeks would be sufficient, and we could always change it later if this becomes a problem. But I think it's sufficient the way it's written.
So, Mayor, we're discussing the amendment, right?
Correct.
Call the question, Mayor.
Right. Clerk, please call the roll on the amendment, because I can't do a voice vote over the internet, I wouldn't be able to tell.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman,
Yes.
Commissioner Sower,
No.
Mayor May.
I'll vote yes on the amendment. Okay, now, the order as amended, any discussion on this, or are you ready to vote?
Are we,
Okay,
For the whole thing,
Any other
As
for
amendments?
the whole amendment.
for the whole
As
month.
so I won't be able to use that just because I'll have to have a doctor's note to make sure that I'm to be out those 3 weeks, to use those 3 weeks beyond.
The 3 weeks.
Sorry,
Let me
I'm
ask
trying to
Laura-
read from here, which I wish I'd had a
Laura,
paper copy, but I didn't
can
get to
you,
print it out, so.
review for us possibly the qualifiers, qualifying circumstances
Oh, yes.
to be able to use this, and just, again, for the public, I suppose, if nothing else as much as us, there are 6 A through F, and what those determiners will be for the 3-week period.
Sure, so the first one is subject to a federal, state, or local quarantine or isolation order related to the virus, which we currently do have in place. That is what we've been working on. The second one is.
If you could, Keith, as well, just kick in what would be a qualifier, doctor's note or determination for each of those?
Well, right now, I think the first one is the mayor when he allowed people to go home and isolate. So we're already meeting item A. So all the others are irrelevant at this time. Now, when we come out of isolation, then you come to advised by healthcare provider to self-quarantine due to COVID-19 concerns. I would assume we would need a note from the doctor if that's the case. Item
That's
C
what I-
is experiencing COVID-19 symptoms and seeking medical diagnosis. I would leave that up to supervisors if they receive word that somebody we want them to go get.
Right.
So that would apply. Item D is caring for an individual subject to a federal, state.
Can we step back one to that one, Keith?
Yeah.
If you're experiencing symptoms, tests right now are taking up to a week to come back positive or negative. So our staff would be eligible to take vacation, quarantine themselves for that week. Is that your determination?
Staff, the first thing staff need to do is seek their main doctor, and if their main doctor says they need to be tested, I would agree. But if their main doctor says you don't meet the criteria because you didn't have a fever or you didn't have I think there's criteria for testing. Right now, not everybody can get it yet. So instead of us diagnosing if they meet the COVID-19 symptoms, we want that their doctor would say that.
But we're going to try to interpret this
Yeah.
leniently is my question, that
Yeah.
that we want people to go get tested and do their due diligence in making sure they're not infecting anyone else. If they have any thought of symptoms, I don't want anyone to think that they are necessitated to come into work if they think maybe they just have a small cold or something.
And we're leaving it up to supervisors. We don't want them here if they're showing symptoms. So, yes, there's already been people we've asked to stay home because of symptoms. And we will not, we are working with everybody on this. We don't want them here, they don't want, we don't want to take a chance of them being undiagnosed.
And that was my reasoning for 3 weeks more so, because there could be a week leeway even to be able to get a test at the current instance. And if you then have it and need 2 weeks to recover or more, we want to make sure that we're giving staff every leniency.
And so this is just with the coronavirus is the concern we're having right now. And then my other question would be, let's hypothetically say that one of our employees happens to have symptoms, who is maybe an admin assistant somewhere, and they're already working from home, and we have them at home. They continue just making that. They don't use that time for here. That's just for people that need to come in, or they're back and forth, that are working for us now, and not people at home.
I think we would take it upon the employees concerned if they're able to work and want to work from home. We would code that time as work and use leave time elsewhere. But if the employee says, I don't feel well enough to work at home, then we would just cover sick leave. So it would be up to the employee at that point.
And can you review the last three, because I think those are a bit different than personal effects.
Yeah, caring for an individual subject to a federal, state, or local quarantine or isolation order, or advised by a healthcare provider to self-quarantine due to COVID-19 concerns, caring for another who is subject to an isolation order. So if you have a family member, you have to stay home because there's been an isolation order for a family member, we're going to work, and the federal government has made sure that we will. They have impressed upon the other employers in different states that they have to allow some leave time if you have to take care of a person in isolation.
And that's not limited to family members. It's any time that you have to do so, that it's necessary.
Which was a big concern of mine for our police and fire and other first response, that if somehow someone's exposed and they need to step out to care for someone, that they have that ability to do so.
Right.
And item E is caring for an employee's child if the child's school or place of care is closed or the child's care provider is unavailable due to COVID-19 precautions. And item F is experience any other substantially similar condition specified by the Secretary of Health and Human Services in consultation with the Secretary of the Treasury and Secretary of Labor. I'm not sure how to explain that one, there's a catch-all there.
It is a catch-all,
Yeah.
it just means as things may
Right.
evolve.
Now, there's also going to be, just like you'll see, equal employment opportunities. There's a lot of posters that will be sent out where we'll post this in the employee's workplace where they can clearly at any time see what these conditions are and make sure everybody knows about it.
And when you send out information to our staff, I would like almost exactly verbatim what you just explained, so that it's very clear, everyone understands very much that their rights here in this instance, and that we want them to take every precaution.
We sent this draft document to staff already, and we'll make the change that you all have added, 80 to 120 hours paid sick leave. We'll make sure staff knows that's been changed.
And just one more, the 12-week job protection order is what we're going with at this point, but obviously if this thing ramps up out of control, I think I speak for the commission that we're all unified in doing whatever we can to make sure that our staff jobs are protected, and if a family comes down with something and you have to be gone for 2 months to take care of them, we're going to work as hard as we can with everyone, and we will protect everyone's jobs.
Okay, I voted against the amendment. I'm for this.
Is there any other discussion or questions? Okay, if not, clerk, please call roll.
Commissioner Waldridge?
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett?
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Sower?
Yes.
Mayor May?
Yes, that order is adopted. Next, we have a discussion on the local government emergency response actions, policies, and procedures regarding COVID-19. And one of the things I requested staff to look at was in the short term to try to get relief for small business owners and their employees that are going to go without paychecks. What can we do, if anything, regarding any type of city appropriations directly to the business owner or the employees, or if we do that to some of the agencies that provide services to folks?
Mayor? If I
Commissioner,
may, it's Laura.
Okay, got it.
Yes, well, once you mentioned this to me, I began doing some research immediately to determine the extent of what the city could do to assist local workers, local economy, businesses. We are just so early in this. I have noticed that Lexington and Louisville, as you might expect, acted pretty quickly, but they did so through community organizations that led the charge. So Lexington, for instance, I think it's community, Action of the
Action,
Bluegrass and United Way. So Bluegrass Community Foundation and United Way, I'm sorry, those two are really the ones leading the charge, with the city assisting as it can in various ways. Louisville has something similar in place. Other cities are starting to ask about this and to discuss ways that we might act within our smaller cities, and we're carefully working with KLC, reviewing the emergency management statutes. So I would say we'll have a solid plan and something that we can discuss in much more detail in the coming days.
Okay.
And I would,
Who said? Mr. Tippett?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
I just have a question for the city solicitor. Are you there, Ms. Ross?
Yes.
So is it permissible, legal for us to partner with private financial institutions to come up with some sort of funding mechanism that we can assist what I would call some of our the folks on the economic ladder that work for tips and minimum wage, and if we could find some criteria to identify those folks.
I think that's actually part of what the mayor was referring to. I will say this, the normal criteria that would apply to our ability to work with private financial institutions or private entities in period may be changing during this pandemic and this situation. So a lot of the normal rules that I would refer you all back to are probably going to be moved aside or changed slightly. We just need to keep looking at those and make sure that we come up with the very best, the most legal and the very most effective plan possible. I'm sorry, I interrupted the city manager. I think.
No, you're fine.
Quite all right, Mr. Rowe. I think you were reading my mind. I want to encourage this board to investigate this possibility of us helping the folks who are most at risk and who are most at need in our community. Some of my favorite waiters who take care of me out there, and I frequent many restaurants, are in dire straits. It almost brings me to tears. And if we can do anything to help these folks, I think we should. I don't know how much we can help, but we should at least make the effort. So that's my 2 cents on it. And Mayor, thank you for being the initiator of that.
Thank you, Commissioner. And the other thing too is like to help those small business owners that could be on the verge of losing their business and their investment, and especially in those downtown storefronts that we've worked so hard to get filled up.
Right.
And again, we also should have said, first of all, thanks to all of our emergency response agencies, all of our city staff, all of our commission members who are all working through this together. We appreciate the fact that everybody can work together, and we'll continue to monitor as things progress. We hope that this is easily managed. We understand too that we probably haven't seen the peak of it here yet, but we're doing everything we can to encourage our citizens to follow all the safety precautions that we've listed on our EMA site.
Mayor, may I speak?
Commissioner Whisman, is that?
It's city manager.
Oh, yes, okay, because I can barely see, I can see the background, there we go. Go ahead.
What I think, it looks like Lexington and Louisville have taken a route where they can get a nonprofit to lead this charge. And I think that is a good route because we could get, I bet we have a lot of people in this community that are wanting to know how they can help. And if we get a nonprofit to lead the charge, we can get a tax deductible donation to them. The city can step in from our side, and we can start. The nonprofits have experience in identifying who needs it, who doesn't, and I bet this community is just dying to help, and we can investigate that
Absolutely.
for you all.
Sure.
Mayor, may I?
No, we get it started. Commissioner Whisman?
Yeah, Mayor, you know, we've talked about the restaurants and the small businesses, but even more my immediate concern, as we just had a letter from one of the community entities, is food. That we have shelters that are already struggling. The elderly center, the activity center, not getting in any donations for their usual Thursday food drive because the grocery stores have nothing to give away. So my concern is more that I think we need to act immediately to put a pot of money aside to assist the local shelters in purchase of food to distribute to the community, and using those avenues that we already have established in town to support our citizens. So I'm actually going to suggest that we consider putting something maybe like $100,000 here into a pot that we don't distribute immediately, but we can leave up to the determination of the mayor, emergency management, and the city manager to have as an available resource should the need arise in the next few weeks. As we saw the one letter from St. Vincent de Paul's, already needing some financial assistance to help them acquire groceries to distribute in the community. I don't know. Before I make a motion, I thought we'd have more discussion, but.
Yeah.
We did do an update. The county judge and emergency management team did a conference call with the food pantry folks yesterday. And they are expecting a larger shipment coming in and looking and moving into a larger distribution point. So they feel like there's going to be a spike in the request, but at this time we don't really know what they need. So we're just kind of holding tight to see. I know that one of the local grocery stores has worked with them on a lot of things. So I certainly don't want to speak for the food pantry, but when I was talking with, also I spoke with Mayor Gordon in Lexington today about the programs that they're working with, and spoke to their United Way director. And God's Pantry, which is the big food bank there, also can help assist Frankfort and Franklin County. So that community trust fund that is being in place there covers just not just Lexington, but central Kentucky. So we are eligible to work with them. And don't really know where we will be with the request. This is gonna be the first week that we're gonna see people that are going to start going without their paychecks. So we decided we'll continue monitoring that to see what the need is. And then right now they should be able to meet the needs, and if not, then we can put emergency procedures in place if needed.
Yeah.
And I want to, our EMA director, Tommy Russell.
He's behind you here wanting to speak.
I'm standing behind you, but you can't tell it.
I would defer.
Could I make a comment, sir?
Comments.
Tommy, is there a need, I want to make sure we're already authorizing anything we need to do, and setting aside some funds for you all to access.
The biggest thing yesterday was what, like the mayor was talking about, the food pantry has reached out. I have actually added a person to my staff to do nothing but food.
Yeah.
One of them's gonna do volunteers, one of them's gonna do food. But I've had several people throughout the community. David Stern is leading a group that is buying X number of meals every day from local entities to increase the meals available, the ready-to-eat meals right now that are available to the population. I think Marshall's request went up like maybe 35 a week or 50 a week right now. Obviously, the more cases we get, the longer this thing goes. We're going to have to step up and do more. The need right now, I feel like we're keeping up. Now, this thing is far from a spike or far from over probably, and there probably will be the need to do other things. But our food suppliers, while they can't guarantee, we've had conversations with them and they think they'll be able to keep up. They've altered their hours. We've done some different things of that nature. But right now, the need is not outweighing the product that I have out there. I've got plenty available. That doesn't mean that it won't change if I get, I saw we had 21 new cases in the state today. So, if I get 5 or 6 here in Franklin County, something like that, it'll probably change the whole perspective from everybody. But I am approaching that long-term feeding, and that's why I brought Mr. John Lyle on board with me. I think that we need to go another week. I think Thursday was going to be an indicator from Kroger's whether they could keep up with the demand that we're asking from the food pantry, and they serve several different agencies here. But I think right now we're good, and like I say, I don't know of anything that we're missing just yet, but this thing is going to continue to grow the longer we go.
He's pausing.
Mayor, may I speak?
There he is.
About to run out. Sorry, I'm about to run. I got to plug in. Go ahead. Who's asking?
As city manager.
Oh yeah, please do.
I think Commissioner Whisman's suggestion for $100,000, I think at the next meeting, or we call another special call between now and the work session, and let's go on and do the budget amendment. I think we'll need a budget amendment to show mainly a decrease in revenue. So we're gonna overspend. I think that just needs to be formalized. We'll try to do some projections on, another thing I want to talk about here is extending our net profit deadline was April 15th. The federal government has extended 90 days to July 15th. I think we need to do that as well. And if y'all are in agreement with that, we're going to start notifying people they have till July 15th. But we're going to see a reduction in some occupational tax. We're going to see a reduction in net profits. I think we come to you with our best guess of what that's going to be in a budget amendment. We can bring you a $100,000 budget amendment for expenses to possibly be used at the discretion of emergency management and the mayor and myself for helping the community, as Commissioner Whisman suggested. If you all like that, we can have that ready for a special call before the work session, and then the second reading could be on the work session if you like.
I'd like to get out in front of it, reassure our community that we're going to be here. We have 2 of the lowest census tract districts in the nation within our city, and I just want to make sure that everyone is very comfortable. They're not going to go hungry. They're going to have food, and we're going to support whatever we have to through the local shelters. I'd rather be proactive and have money available if there's even a $1,000 need that you all can pull from it and help the shelters if there is an instance of a lull or something, I'd like to move forward.
I would say give us a week. I'd like to work with Tommy Russell and the mayor and figure out, maybe find a lead agency that help us.
Yeah.
And then get our projections. It's gonna be hard to project our revenue losses. But if you can give us a week, then maybe we can work with the mayor, do a special call and bring a budget amendment before you all that shows all that. And we'll have guidance on an agency that may be able to read this.
I think that's a good, could I speak, Mayor?
Good.
I think,
Absolutely.
I think the comments that everyone has made are genuine and sincere, and I appreciate it, and I agree with those comments. Yes, I think the emergency management team, you, Mayor, and the county judge, one thing, my 2 cents would be, I think we need to make better use, perhaps, of the Electric and Water Plant Board, Cable 10, the State Journal. I know they're going to be, tomorrow's newspaper is going to list all of the restaurants that are open that have curbside and carryout. Our own website. We need to use all of those avenues to get the information out to the public of who's on first and what's open and what's not open. Because, Mayor, I know I share your concern too about all of the businesses that all of us have struggled so hard to try to maintain here in Frankfort. And now we've, unfortunately, in my opinion, had an executive order to close unessential businesses. But I think we need to use Cable 10, the State Journal, and all avenues, our Facebook account, I'm repeating myself, to get the message out that you, the city manager, the county judge, and Tommy have available.
I would agree. I guess I would agree. I definitely agree. I know my thing is just getting in front of it and being proactive. I've been talking about helping our businesses since the 13th. And now today's the 23rd, and we're still talking about it. And so I brought it up to try to get ahead of it because I'm one to be proactive. This is happening. This is happening every week. Something else is happening. Yes, last week maybe food isn't an issue, and food is now becoming an issue. So the goal for me when I brought it to city manager and spoke on behalf, and also spoke with emergency management just on some things that were put out there, is just being proactive. What are we going to do? What are we going to do next? If this gets worse in 3 weeks, and how do we take care of our emergency management people, our first responders? Do we have a location for them to stay, if they can't go back and forth, because it does get really bad here. That I'm a proactive person, and I want my community, like Eric said, we want our community to feel safe that the city's doing what needs to be. And sometimes we don't feel like we have the communication to put out there to the community if they call us, or to share on our Facebook and things of that nature. And we have our numbers and emails out there for people to communicate, but then we don't have all that information. So that's all I'm saying. I know I've called you, I know I've sent emails, and I've sort of threw my hands up, because the communication of being proactive is what we need. And that's what I'm wanting, so I can talk to the residents and constituents. And I do like the fact of putting money, as I stated, what Eric Whisman had said to you, last week, of making sure that we had a budget or something set aside for us to talk about. So if Tommy does need something, he doesn't have to come back to us and say, hey, we need this approved. It is out there. And maybe you need another week, I'm not sure. But we do have to be proactive about this. This is not a mayor thing. This isn't a city manager thing. This is a city thing, and a county thing. So we are one community right now working together to make sure we're doing what needs to be done for that. And we all want to make sure that we have the communication. We're working together and we're doing what we need to do as a city. I just spoke with someone earlier in regards to food, as they were saying food, and I have a friend that is a landlord, and she's a little nervous because the little bleep that went out about, not paying rent or something like that. And it's like, no, people have to read things. If you're still getting paid from your employer, you're still expected to pay your bills. If you're still getting your money coming, if that makes sense. And so we don't want to enable people. We want to help the people that truly need help. And as Mr. Whisman had shared, they need to know where to go get that information. They need to know where to get help. And we need to make sure we're helping, as Tommy is, helping those that need help first, which are our senior citizens, as you mentioned, getting food and things of that nature. And that's just my concern. Some of us may not be able to, provide or pay certain bills, and we do want to help them. Our businesses, I think I spoke with a city manager, I spoke with you on that, my concern of our businesses, as we've all stated. That's my priority, and the health of our city is my priority. So I think we do need to put some money out there, Mr. Whisman. And if you need a week to do that, then that's fine. But also communication. I'm huge on communication right now.
And I will say, Commissioner Waldridge has reached out to me, and again, this is all of our first pandemic,
Yeah.
and hopefully our last pandemic. But we have been working, there's a lot going on in the background with the mayor and Frankfort Emergency Management. We have a website, frankfortema.org, is that correct? That's frankfortema.org. I've had, in my messenger inbox on Facebook, a couple of things that come in, and if you're unsure about something, check out that website. The latest and greatest is on that website. Kentucky has a kycovid19.ky.gov. There's a lot of information out there, but there's a lot of false information.
Exactly.
Franklin County Health Department has www.fchd.org. Please check those websites for current information.
Yes.
Do not rely on Messenger or Facebook to get your information. There's a lot of false information out there.
Yes.
But Commissioner Waldridge, Commissioner Whisman, all the commissioners are very concerned. They want to be able to tell the citizens that call them what's going on. We have set up a weekly conference call with Frankfort Emergency Management to help keep everybody informed. Please do not think we're trying to keep anything from you. It changes every 5 minutes. I'd like let Tommy speak to that a little bit.
Mayor, Mayor, care if I make a comment?
I'm sorry,
You care if I make a comment?
no, let me say too first, to reassure everyone that we do have this under control, so we want the community to know that our emergency management folks and myself, we've all passed certain certifications to do what we're doing. We've had to pass tests, and we've also dealt with, we actually have dealt with pandemics before, with the H1N1 pandemic several years back. So a lot of that training that we received then, we're applying now, and also in our emergency operations plans, we have certain sections that deal with how to manage this type of situation. And I will say that people always want as much information as can be provided. As city manager just said, that information does sometimes change quickly. So when we have a joint information center set up like we do, everything needs to go through there and be checked and rechecked before it goes out. And that's what our emergency management folks are doing to make sure that we're coordinating with state and federal authorities and making sure also that commissioners get information as it's available to us too. So that's something that's real important for us to make sure everybody has it.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Being able to pay for this is something that is an unknown right now, what it's going to cost us totally. Some funds are reimbursed, others sometimes are not. And that's what our folks are working on right now. This is a developing situation for us. We were ahead of this. We were working on this back in December, January. So I think Tommy Russell, our new director, can also expand on that, if you would, please.
Mayor, may I real quickly, before Tommy speaks, I think there's a point of clarification maybe for the general public to understand that your emergency order on the 12th, 13 days ago, sort of changes the dynamics of the commission, and maybe some of the community don't understand that the point that emergency order was made, the mayor assumes the role of singular point of contact for decision-making for the community with emergency management and the county judge in this instance. And the commission members really are taking a bit of a step back to have a role that directs policy for our staff, and also for budget items. We can help disseminate information, and we can help educate the public and really kind of jump in wherever we're able to work. But at this point, all information is changing literally minute by minute, and is going through one point of Command, which is our Office of Emergency Management, headed by Tommy Russell, who will speak in a minute. So there is at times a delay in what's coming to us, which can be frustrating, but it's just sort of the part of the process that there has to be a bit of a singular decision maker dealing with the federal mandates, state mandates that come out as they happen. And I've got a lot of questions from people in the community not understanding the process and why we aren't maybe more up to date on information as they happen minute by minute, because in emergencies and life-saving instances, those minutes count sometimes, and there's not always time to update 4 other people when a split-second decision needs to be made, which we aren't thankfully there yet, but could be in the near future. And just wanted to explain to the community, because there'll be a lot of people at home board watching this on Cable 10 that don't quite understand the process, and that we're in a different situation than we are traditionally. So I just want to say that before Tommy spoke, to let everyone understand what the protocol is here.
Thank you, sir. That's an excellent comment. Excellent. Excellent. Understand that my first several days on this thing was making sure that everybody was secure, that I had everything in place I needed to take care of the public and to take care of our first responders. That was a huge issue for us, because this thing, you can't see it, touch it, smell it, feel it, nothing until it gets you in it. And the bad thing is you could have it for 2 days before it ever shows. So that puts a huge burden on everyone, because you know as well as I know, when the public starts to talk about something, that's kind of all they talk about, and then runs its course until we can dispel that. Now, we went in the Joint Information Center, which I appreciate you bringing that up, for the simple fact that the information we need to disseminate needs to be accurate, correct. It's vetted through public health, the mayor, the judge, and my office. So anything that goes out on our website is fully vetted. The other thing is that this next, what day is today, Monday? I apologize, things get a little quick sometimes, but we are going into I've asked the city manager to bring me over some more staff for social media and things of that nature. He has. My IT guy will be back, as he had some personal tragedies to deal with 1st of April. So I will be back fully staffed +2 come April, and we should be able to get everything out that we needed. I wanted to implement my weekly phone call with you all, and if it needs to be more than once a week, we will certainly do that. I'm going to do the same with county government also. So all the questions, all the needs, everything that you all hear, I can either dispel or say, yes, that is correct. And I certainly need your all's help in making sure we get out the most accurate and timely information that we have available as this thing changes every single day. And I would ask that, I apologize if y'all felt like you were behind. There were just some things that there weren't enough hours in the day for us to take care of. And I got to it just as soon as I could.
Tommy, Frankfort, www.frankfort.
Commissioner Tippett has his hand up next.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I was ready. Sorry. It's hard to do
I just wanted to make a short comment, Mayor, and thanks, Director Russell. I know how busy he has been, and what I would like the public to know is that you mentioned training. We have taken this crisis seriously, the city of Frankfort, and I think I can say Franklin County as well. We have taken this crisis seriously from the get-go. We have been as proactive as we possibly can, and we have trained experts that we rely on. A lot of times we are grasping in the dark for answers, but, training and expertise are absolutely paramount in nearly every situation, but more critically so in a crisis situation. And, kudos to Tommy and his department. I'm pretty sure I can speak for my colleagues when I say we are fully behind you, and we know that you will keep us up to date with information. So keep doing the great work, Tommy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mayor.
I think we should also point out that we were the first city, or one of the first, to go ahead and close down our buildings and send staff home to be safe. That was something that was way ahead of others, and then the state actually followed after that.
Oh, I was out a week before that.
Mayor, I was just going to ask if Tommy would
All right.
reiterate the points of information. We have the website, phone numbers, where to access information if you are without internet or phone capabilities or whatever else. If you would just
Yeah,
give us
actually,
the
frankfortema.org, public health has an 800 number, 722, I apologize, I can't remember the rest, but we actually have a phone number dedicated, you think I can see that?
722-572.
725. 800-722-5725. We actually have a dedicated phone line in the EOC, 352-2118. For anybody that has any questions, comments, concerns, they can call that, and it will be answered during the daytime. Other than that, it rolls over to my telephone. So, but like I say, that line is dedicated to this Emergency Operations Center for any questions anybody has. It's 352-2118. That is generally not, I haven't had a chance to get that way far out there, but it is up and going now. And it was a damage hotline report or something like that. We changed it to COVID-19. Our IT guy has been exceptional to help us get up and running. We changed our website over to the COVID-19 thing, so everything on there is up to date.
And Tommy, my thought is just for a lot of the elderly that are very scared in our community right now that don't have internet. Is that the best place to get information, to call that phone number if
Yes,
they have
sir.
any issues?
Yes, sir.
So 352-2118.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Is that on the website as well?
Blair Hecker, is that on the website? I'm sure
I
it
mean,
is.
I was thinking, I think that's on the website. And no, I thank you. I think I told you personally, I thank you for your work and I just want information. I thank you for your hard work and keeping us moving in the right direction and keeping us safe. As I think I stated, I just want to stay out of your way because I'm not 100%. I just want information they can get out in our community. And I understand things change minute by minute, but when you have State Journal calling you after a meeting or something and you weren't aware, that was my concern. I'm like, and I, as I told you, don't want to give out any wrong information to any of our community members, and that is my concern. I clearly know how everything's going as we spoke about how this goes and things. I just want to make sure we have the communication as soon as we get it so we can answer, because I was to the point now where I was just sending them to other people because I didn't know, and I wasn't updated on that information, but we got that cleared up, and so I appreciate finally getting the call to where we can get on that once a week with you to know where that is, as we know things could change the very next day, but I do appreciate that. I also wanted to add to see if the city manager could possibly maybe speak with Frankfort Plant Board on how we can help maybe some of our families who are still do not have internet access. Like, we understand, just like we said, things are different. You see it, people read things and like Spectrum has it where people can get free internet. Well, we're Franklin County and not AT&T or Spectrum, may not go in all areas. So could we speak with Frankfort Plant Board on trying to work with definitely getting our students internet or Wi-Fi or something for them to be able to do all of their work? So we still have a few students that are struggling, that are not able to capitalize on the Spectrum deal that they put out in AT&T and things of that nature. So if we could look into that just to help our school systems, that would be great. Maybe reach out to our superintendents to see if there's anything we can do as a city to try to push Frankfort Plant Board. As I stated, I think some people had said that because it was a municipal that they weren't able to do that. But can we see if there's something we can do as a city to push forward and work with the county on trying to get all of our students? Because it looks like right now they've pushed the date back to the 20th of April right now for school to be out. And I just want to make sure our students have all the capability of getting their work done and staying on top of that.
And I think it's a very good point. And I've had a preliminary conversation with the plant board, and a lot of the free stuff, they've got to be cognizant of the people that are paying for it already when we start giving it out, and
Right.
that'll affect their revenue stream. But I think there's been a lot of random phone calls I've gotten as a parent. Do my children have access to the internet?
Yeah.
So there's a good survey going around. So
Yeah.
what I'll do is reach out to both superintendents, and I'd like to see their need. So I'd like to
Yes.
see the answers to those questions.
Definitely.
And then have a formal ask, I think, of the plant board, and then let them evaluate that. But I'll work on
Yeah.
it.
No, I definitely agree, and I definitely, for someone to try to cut their service off just to try to get a free service, I don't think that that's what I'm asking, definitely. I just want to help those that have not had it, that need it, by all means in our community. But I think definitely research needs to be done. That's why I think getting both of those superintendents together. They know their need better than we know the need, but I just want opportunities for them to be able to do their schoolwork.
Mayor?
Chris Whisman.
I just wanted to specifically thank Tommy and his team and you, the mayor, and the county judge. Most people don't understand that Tommy's actually a part-time staff and our emergency management are all part-time, and they're putting in a tremendous number of hours to keep our community safe right now, as you and the county judge are as well, and trying our best to stay on top of this, but it is, again, day 13 of an emergency declaration, and we actually got ahead of it before the state a little bit even, so we're uncharted waters, as everyone knows, and trying to figure this out as fast as possible. I'd like to take a step back and just ask that the city manager, mayor, and Tommy in emergency management then work on some recommendations for us. I threw out $100,000 just as something out of the air, but bring us something that you think would be appropriate or possibly necessary, and discussions with the shelters for funding sources. And I know Laura's going to continue to work on some legality. I think there are some avenues through the existing nonprofits in our community to better support some of our businesses. And I just want everyone in the community to know that no one's going to go hungry. As much as we can take care of everyone, we're going to try to help. It may mean, in my mind, pulling back some of the projects we've even been discussing this year, if it comes down to it. But we'll do what we have to as a city to make sure that our town is safe and cared for, and everyone has the resources that they need as much as we possibly can. I know, I think I can speak for all of us to say that we're dedicated to that. So we can probably meet any day this week if we need to approve a budget amendment. We have the rainy day fund just for things like this.
Yeah.
I was just saying, we have the emergency fund just for purposes of this nature, that when we need to dip in to take care of our community.
And I just wanted to add, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to add also just great thanks and for those that want to register to help out, help deliver meals. I know I contacted Marshall over at the senior citizen area, and her meals will probably go up, but I've already registered to make sure I'm one of the delivery people to help out. So if you can deliver, if you're in great health and you can help do this, go to the website and sign up that Tommy and them has gratefully shown. If you have something a resource that we could use, please register that resource. When it comes time, which there probably will be a time, we want to be able to reach out to you for that resource and be able to have all hands and feet on deck that we may need. So please go to that. Also, Buffalo Trace is making hand sanitizer. If you have a 501c3, I believe is one of the requirements, I think, right? The application is out there, so you can apply for hand sanitizer there for those, but you have to be a nonprofit 501c3, I believe. There is a process, so please, apply for that if you need that as well. So, Mayor.
Anyone else on that? Are we going to do the executive session?
We are. Do we want to talk about future meetings for the safety of all involved? We possibly do just video conference?
Yeah, I think that was a recommendation, and also just so everyone knows, during emergencies, we can do some spending and then come back and get approval retroactively. Of course, nobody wants to do that on their own without the commission knowing, but at the same time, sometimes we just may have to do it. But one of the recommendations is that we keep people as far away as we can from each other. And I think our staff, were you going to talk about that, City Manager?
No, well, it's just a recommendation been made by emergency management that we try to do full video meetings next. We may have limited staff to come in here, but we'll try to get the commission all set up to do, so they can stay home and stay safe.
Okay,
We may limit staff availability as well, but we'll try to be available to make a phone call, answer questions in meeting, to do some stuff. You know, we have staff outside that were ready to speak today, but I just assume we try to make this meeting where as few people have to be physically here as possible.
okay. So if there's nothing else, we're gonna recess into executive session.
I'll read it, Mayor.
Oh,
That's still on.
Whisman's gonna read it.
I move that we go into executive session per KRS 61.810, subsection 1, subsection C, to discuss litigation strategy and settlement terms regarding current litigation brought against the City and Planning Commission by FPB, Frankfort Plant Board, regarding the reservoir project, FPB versus Planning Commission, et al., and
And just
Second.
action may be taken. Okay, motion by Commissioner Whisman, second by Commissioner Tippett. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, well, let's just let the clerk call the roll since it's a video meeting. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Executive session.
Yes.
Oh. I was thinking
Commissioner
that.
Whisman,
yes,
He
Commissioner
confused me when he
Sower,
started saying something.
Yes.
Mayor May.
just because video conference.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So there's
Okay,
an
we're in
official.
executive session.
Oh.
All right, now, are we, staff, do you have us back online yet with everyone? Okay, so we're back in open session? And I will entertain any motions.
Mayor, I will move to approve the settlement and release statement and authorize the mayor to sign any related documents that we just formally discussed in closed session.
Second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Whisman, second by Commissioner Waldridge. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Waldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Whisman.
Yes.
Commissioner Sower,
Heck, yes.
Mayor May.
Yes.
Celebration.
Hallelujah.
Yes, that's adopted. Next time would be adjournment.
Move to adjourn, Mayor.
Second.
Moved by Tippett, second by Commissioner Whisman. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying, did you have your hand up, Commissioner Waldridge?
I was saying no. We have
Okay.
someone that wants interpretation.
That's okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, like sign. All right, ayes have it. Thank you all very